Literally, when everybody was telling me I was too fat, too black, and too loud to make a record, he was like, you could be 1,200 pounds in blue. Who wouldn't buy that voice? I was like, tell that to everybody else in the business. Like, I'm the chick they hiding in the room with a microphone. Like,
yeah, that's so hard because you were talking, and you've spoken on this before, how when you were about to get a record deal, they had an issue with your weight.
Yeah,
and they said
the signing
actually
day.
sat you down and told you had to lose weight in order for them to be able to sign you.
Was that with Def Jam?
No, it was Jive.
Jive.
Yes.
A bunch of jive-ass turkeys over there. They didn't know what the hell they were talking about.
Yeah. Do you think
they wait till signing day. We hadn't been negotiating for months. And I came into the city to sign that day, and they told me to stop by the offices before I went to my attorney to sign the paperwork. And that was your first deal? That was the first deal. Yeah. And so I was choked up, but I was like, you better not cry sitting in this. I was sitting with the head of every department in the conference room. And I said, I just have one question. Who gets to say when it's enough?
So what did they say? Like in the meeting, they would say, hey, we're going to sign this deal, but... So
we had been in negotiations. The execution copy was in my attorney's office at that time. Mm-hmm. I got a call from my lawyer saying, go by the Jive offices before you come to sign. They say they need to meet with you about something. Best call I could have ever received. Because had I signed the paperwork first, I would have been locked into something and possibly sat on a shelf.
That's not the right place to be at.
No, not at all.
Oh, so you turned the deal down?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, wow.
I walked away.
See, that's real faith right there.
Yeah. I walked away.
Now, was that after More Money, More Problems? After all the stuff?
That was right before it.
Right before it.
But how do they say that to you?
In a room with everybody at like one of those cold conference rooms, long. There's probably about 10 of us in there, the head of each department. I walk in, I sit down, and there's awkward silence. And so... I'm like, hey, hi, everybody.
This supposed to be a great day. I'm signing.
Yeah,
I'm happy.
I'm all excited. I'm like,
here's the team. The team's all here.
Yeah, we're going to talk about, we want to know who you want to work with. And okay. And then awkward silence. And so Jeff Finster is his name.
Jeff Finster.
I'm glad you called names.
I remember that name.
Listen, I'm 48 and I've been doing this for 30 years.
That's right.
I've earned the right to call names.
That's right.
Says, why don't we just go ahead and say it? It's, let's just say it. And I'm like, say what? He says, listen, we're going to need you to lose a significant amount of weight before we put this record out. So my eyes, I'm like a deer in headlights in this moment. And so I say, okay, take a minute. And I said, how much weight? Like, do you want me Whitney Houston thin? Do you want me, because like I come from a family where the women are, whether they're bigger or smaller, they're thick. Mm-hmm. Who gets to decide how much is enough? Like, what if I feel like it's enough and you still feel like I need to lose more? Mm-hmm. And there was just kind of like I said, no, like ballpark. Like just,
and no one knew,
and nobody knew. And I said, okay, well, then the question is, if I get to a place where I'm feeling okay about it and you don't, what happens to the record? Mm-hmm. And the answer was, we don't know.
Wow. Well, you see what happened to Jeff Finster now.
So
what happened to him?
Well, he went over to another label. Allegedly, he was let go because of sexual misconduct with a former employee. Wow.
But bigger worries than
it felt like, when I was doing mixtapes, everybody knew your name, right? Because you had vocals, you were singing over everything. But it felt like the world was hiding you, didn't want to see you. Even in the More Money, More Problems video, it was like the little screen and you see your little face in there.
You see my head, I was the first bobblehead right? Inside,
so how did that feel? Because you knew you could sing. You knew you could out-sing most of the people that were out there, but it felt like everybody didn't want to show you.
It was interesting. I mean, I look back at that time now. I was just grateful I was asked to be in the video because other people weren't putting me in the video. I've been Martha washed, and when I say that, I mean having written for people, and then I would go demo the record. The artist is supposed to go in and sing their own music. I can remember riding down the street and hearing the song start, and I'm like, oh, it's out, but I'm hearing me, and I'm like, wow.
You said Martha washed was
As in, like, sometimes the labels would leave my vocals on, but it was their artist.
And they wouldn't show.
Gotcha.
They wouldn't
Is that
show her.
is that somebody that happened to? Martha Wash?
Yeah, Martha. She was the one that sued. Was it Black Box or
I think it was,
CNC Music Factory?
Yeah.
Because they like replaced.
Was she the one that was like Strike It Up? Was that?
It was Strike It Up.
Yeah.
Everybody dance now.
And they used her voice.
Yeah, and so it was a big thing, and she was awarded a sum of money. She sued them for it, and she was awarded a sum of money for it because in the video they had like this thin model girl, lip syncing, and she didn't understand why that was happening, and she wasn't like, unless you knew. I don't know if it was a credit issue. Like, I don't even know. I think maybe she wasn't even credited.
So now what happened with you? You're driving down, you're hearing the song on the radio, and then all of a sudden you're like, yo, this is my voice.
Yeah, I was shocked. Because I mean, I know I wrote the record, and I know that sometimes they would come back and say, well, we want to keep your background vocals. That was common. I was doing that for everybody. But to hear the record and to hear that in the verses, I'm hearing my voice laced in between, like, and I can hear the punches. My ear is fine-tuned. And you know what I mean when I say I can hear where the engineer punched me in and then popped her back in.
Right.
And it's like a weave together vocal, and I'm like, this is crazy.
Who that happened with?
Tasha Holiday.
Okay.
Is one artist that it happened with. And she wouldn't have known that was what was happening. That's a call that was over her head.
Yeah.
She had just gotten signed. Somebody at the label said, we don't like it, fix it up.
God bless her. I have no idea who that is.
Yeah. I mean,